Hello and a very warm welcome back to the channel. You join me tonight back out on the Suffolk coast, a part of the world I've been visiting a lot recently, and I've been really enjoying some of the locations here. Tonight I'm in a place called Iken, which is a small marshland on the edge of the River Alder, very near to its estuary. So this is a saltwater marshland, beautiful, quiet location, and there's some interesting foregrounds dotted around here, not least this amazing dead tree behind me, which I assume was initially growing in a freshwater marsh which has become inundated by the sea, and the tree has subsequently died. But it's a really beautiful tree. Some of the branches have broken off, so I don't know how long this is going to be around for, so I'll make the most of it here tonight. And you would have seen from the intro a beautiful jetty out that way as well, and there's some boats as well. So there's a few interesting foregrounds to play with tonight, and I've got some interesting ideas about how I will shoot those with the night sky. I've actually been in a bit of a creative flunk the last few weeks. Even though we're in the peak Milky Way season, I've not been feeling terribly motivated to get out and shoot the night sky and make these films. However, last weekend, a few nights ago, I spent the night with a small group of astrophotographers leading a workshop on orphered nests. You might remember I did one of those last year as well, and we had an absolutely fantastic night. Beautifully clear until the fog very atmospherically rolled in at about 2:30 in the morning. We've got some great shots that night. I'll put, I think, my favourite up on the screen now, and it was great to see some members of the channel as well coming along to that. So hello Susie and Chris and Costas and Martin, thanks very much for coming along. It was great to see you and to meet you. I hope you enjoyed it, but that sort of rebooted me, got me back into getting excited to come out and make these films. I scouted this location at the weekend as well, and I thought this is definitely where I want to come and make my next video. So thanks very much indeed for joining me. Let's get on with it. Okay, I think we've got our first composition of the night. Fairly simple one. There's this lovely tree on the edge of the boardwalk here. It's actually a path. The boardwalk starts a bit further up. And we've got the moon, beautiful crescent moon, Jupiter and Auriga immediately behind the tree. Just a very simple composition. We'll have the tree in silhouette. It's not going to be a tracked exposure, it's probably not even going to be a stacked exposure. I'm just going to select my focal length, and it's a nice simple image. It's not even dark, you can probably still see the twilight on the horizon over there, but I think as a simple, beautiful image, I think it's not bad. Okay, so I've selected the 35mm Samyang f1.4 lens, and that is a really nice focal length for this. Shooting at 5-second exposures at f2.8, and I'm at ISO 800, and it's just a really simple, lovely image. I need to make sure I'm not underexposing it, so I'll probably just bump the exposure a bit. But composition is lovely. Nice, simple. First image in the bank tonight. Well, this is one of the main shots I've come here for tonight, and it's going to be a star trail over this amazing dead tree. Now, it's incredibly humid down here in the amongst the reeds in the marshes. The temperature today got up to about 25 degrees or so, and it's going to plummet probably down to about 6 or 7 tonight. So as the air is cooling, especially around this already very wet marshland, it's making the air incredibly humid. You can probably see my glasses steaming up already. That's going to influence the way I'm going to shoot this. So I want to do a 14mm star trail for probably 3 or 4 hours, something like that. But there's two challenges of doing that star trail from down here. The first is the humidity. With that bulbous 14mm lens, I'm really going to be fighting to keep dew off it. I may succeed, but I may not, and that'd be super annoying. That may not be completely avoidable. But there are also some other compositions that I would like to shoot with this tree, and I don't want to be ruining my star trail image by, you know, shining light on it or moving around and being in the image itself. So I'm actually going to do the foregrounds here. Obviously I can't do the foregrounds anywhere else, but I'm then going to take the camera back out of these marshes just up onto the little track up there and shoot the star trail of the sky separately to my foreground, a bit like when you're doing a blended image of a foreground with a tracked Milky Way from pretty much the same location, maybe the other side of the foreground. I've not done that with a star trail image before, but I think I need to tonight so I can make the most of this tree for different foreground compositions, and I can also get the camera and that lens out of this really, really humid marshland. Okay, that's the foreground done for this star trail shot. Got the tripod up nice and high. I'm using the Canon 6D with the Samyang 14mm f2.8 lens. At f2.8 I am at ISO 6400, and I've done 60-second and 120-second exposures because the foreground here is very dark despite a slight tiny little crescent moon over there, and I want to try and lift some of the shadows in the foreground, but the silhouette of the tree just looks absolutely beautiful on camera, and I think with star trails over it, it's going to look, well, it's just going to look awesome. It really is. So that's the foreground done. Now I'm going to take the camera up onto the embankment up there and start shooting the actual star trail images so I can get lots and lots of data tonight, hopefully about 3 hours worth. In the end, I've not managed to get quite as far back out of the marsh as I'd wanted because there are some trees that will get in the way of the frame. So I'm on the edge. I've got the dew heater on max. Hopefully it'll keep the worst off. So I'm just lining up my shot now, making sure the Polaris is nice and centered, which I think it is. Nice sharp stars. I'm taking the ISO down to 1600 so that I'm keeping the color in the stars, and I will be using probably a 2-second interval on this. And I've installed Magic Lantern on this Canon 6D as well, so I don't need a standalone intervalometer. Instead, I can use the intervalometer that comes with as part of Magic Lantern. So I'm going to set that for, let's say, 26-second interval, and hopefully make sure I've got plenty of battery when I get going. That should all work nicely. Still very much getting used to Magic Lantern. I've only really got it for the intervalometer, so the rest of the features on it kind of don't really mean anything to me. And I haven't yet worked out whether it's hungrier on the battery life than an intervalometer, and whether perhaps, you know, the Canon 6D batteries might not last quite as long. As I say, I need 2 to 3 hours. I've got 4 hours out of a single battery before, so hopefully it'll be okay. I'll come back and check on it a bit later on. That seems to be operating as intended. So now the star trails is going. It's time to go and find some other compositions. Another simple shot here with Cassiopeia just immediately above this lovely tree. I'm shooting at 50mm here, so the Canon 50mm f1.8 lens, and I shot a 10-second exposure at f2 and ISO 6400, one for the foreground, and then for the sky I'm going to use the Case Starglow filter, because Cassiopeia is one of those lovely constellations that looks great with those sort of bloated stars that you get with the Starglow filter, or with high cloud. Now we haven't got any high cloud tonight, which is fantastic, but I can use the Starglow filter to simulate that effect instead. So 10 seconds, ISO 6400, and I just wave the Starglow filter in front of that lens, and the subtle colours in that Cassiopeia constellation should come out quite nicely in that image, and they look lovely. Simple image, one for the foreground, one for the sky, easy blend, job done. Well, I'm off on those sky exposures. I did some compositions earlier at 35mm, which is a focal length I'm really enjoying at the moment, of Cassiopeia and the Perseus region behind that dead tree. So that's what I'm shooting first of all, is the sky shots for that. My usual settings, 2-minute exposures, ISO 800, and I've stopped down the lens to about f2.2, I think. Hopefully these will look pretty good. This is absolutely my favourite time of night. The sky images are running, so I've got now about half an hour or so just to enjoy the sky. The moon is now set, so the sky's got noticeably darker, the stars appear noticeably brighter. There are birds, owls and pheasants and all sorts kicking off all around the estuary. The sounds are phenomenal. And every so often you get the scent of the lilac and honeysuckle that's in the hedgerows around here, just gently coming in off the breeze. As I walked out into the marsh earlier on the boardwalk, as you sort of descend into the marsh, you're hit by this wall of cool, damp air that's got a real earthiness to it. And it's just so overpowering. Your senses are overpowered by the sounds, by the smells, just by the sight above your head. It's beautifully dark here, right from the sort of the northwest all the way around the north, the east, the southeast. There's a little bit of light pollution out down there to the south, which I think is Felixstowe, maybe Ipswich, but other than that, the skies here are absolutely beautiful. And I hope the sky shots I'm taking will absolutely reflect that. Well, as my final set of sky shots finishes off there tonight, I'm going to call that a night here at Iken. I've had an absolutely fantastic night. It's been beautifully clear. It's getting a little bit hazy now towards the northeast and east, but you often expect that down here on the coast, particularly in these marshes. It's super humid, but the skies have been fantastically dark, and I've really enjoyed the simplicity of the compositions that it offers up. Just that dead tree above the reed bed and the simplicity of the lead-in line of the jetty leading up to the Cygnus region as well. So that's made the night really relaxing, and I've really enjoyed that. I certainly needed it, and it definitely got me out of that creative flunk that I have been in. So really pleased about that. But if you got this far, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on another Nightscape adventure very soon.